It's time for the Instigator, the in-your-face hockey podcast that is loaded with controversy and criticism. This hockey talk rant will spark your hockey thoughts and opinions. When controversy happens in the hockey world, the Instigator is there to fire off their opinion. You may agree, but you just might wholeheartedly disagree. That's what brings you back. Get ready for in-your-face hockey talk and controversy. The Instigator is hosted by Brad Baroud and is a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio.
Welcome to the Instigator. I'm Brad Baroud, and on this episode, we're going to discuss the suspension to Michael Matheson on his hit on Vancouver rookie star Elias Pettersson, and the ramifications, the suspension type, and I'm sad to say this, the death threats. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this show. A big thanks goes out to our sponsor, One Timer Hockey. Hockey t-shirts for hockey fans. Check that website out. They have some really, really cool sayings, hockey sayings on t-shirts. There's a great Vancouver one, a great Calgary one. Check that website out and get yourself a new t-shirt.
InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com, your inside source for interviews with players and members of the hockey world. InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com.
Okay, where do I start with this one? I was going to leave this topic alone. When it first happened, when Florida Panthers defenseman Michael Matheson actually checked Vancouver star Elias Pettersson into the boards and then kind of threw him with one arm down, the outrage in Vancouver and all this. And I thought a lot about this one, and I was going to do an episode on this last week. And I just decided, you know what? This isn't enough. I'm going to let this go. I'm not upset about this one enough. And then after seeing and hearing what has happened in the days after this and what Matheson has had to go through and how crazy the Vancouver fans are acting, I had to talk about it. First of all, I'll run down my opinion on this. I do not think this was suspension material. I think what this was Matheson, who is a player that has had no record of problems in the past or anything like that, which kind of matters, but in a way I understand where, everybody has to have a first offense too. So I don't want stars, first off, I don't want stars like Elias Pettersson getting hurt. He is amazing to watch. In the 4 games to start the year, the guy was on fire. He's amazing with the puck. The problem with this is his biggest knock coming up was his size and stature. He's still a kid. He hasn't fully developed into what he's going to be. And at 160 pounds in the corner with a defenseman who probably took it a little too far. I don't think he meant to take it too far. He has apologized to Pettersson. If that matters, I don't know. I guess kind of whatever. I don't care on that. But, I don't think he could have done what he did to most players. He threw him with one arm. He didn't drive him to the ground. He didn't go on top of him. Suspension, okay, I can live with that. I know the league's got to protect their stars. But when you think about that, I wonder. Now, if this would have been, Paul Byron in the corner and he threw Paul Byron to the ice, is there suspension? No, I don't think so. Paul Byron's not a star player, and I don't think this happens. If Elias Pettersson starts the year off with no points and is kind of a non-factor and is just a rookie playing in the league, I don't think there's a suspension either. If this doesn't happen on Saturday night in a major hockey market, I don't think there's a suspension either. When Brad Marchand can beat the hell out of Lars Eller's face after the whistle, or I guess he jumped him during the whistle, I'll give you that, and beat him up, and have no suspension on that, then I don't really know where you can go here. The suspensions are inconsistent. If Pettersson is not injured on this play, I don't think there's a suspension. The league wants to protect their players. And I want to too. But if you're really truly worried about protecting your players, how far are you going to take it? Should fighting be a game misconduct? That would be protecting your players. That would reduce fighting drastically. That's protecting your players. So as much as I know the league doesn't want their players being hurt, and I know that protecting their players is a big thing for the league. Some of their actions show that, like this suspension, but then some of their actions don't show it. And that inconsistency is upsetting for a lot of fans and frustrates me. Now, that's what I was going to talk about when I first was going to do this. But now, and I let it go, and I thought, that's not enough. But after what I've seen and heard this week, I am very disappointed. Matheson has received, through social media, numerous death threats to his family, threats against his family, and this is ridiculous. The maturity level in Vancouver is ridiculous. And now I'm not ripping on Vancouver. I love Vancouver. But this section of fans is idiotic. And if you're a Vancouver fan and you don't feel this way, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to be a Canucks fan. It's embarrassing. You've had your riots, you've had your goofy things. I pray this is a small percentage of fans. I hope most fans aren't thinking this. It's a sad in our world that in a sport we all play and love. I'll tell you what, I watch hockey to escape from the silliness of reality. And the crime and the neglect and the negativity and the bad things happen in this world. Hockey's my vice to get away from that. Who in the hell makes death threats to hockey players? Who does that? That's not for hockey. Hockey's better than that. Hockey's bigger than that. It's ridiculous. I know there was outrage after this hit in Vancouver, but Vancouver complains about everything. Whether it be their poor draft position, their attitude just sucks there. Their poor me attitude is prevalent. Now, again, I'll preface that by saying I think this is only a section of Vancouver fans. But Vancouver fans probably should be quiet. You've had Kevin Bieksa, Jarkko Ruutu running around the league, Alexander Burrows, and Todd Bertuzzi. How could we forget him? You know what dirty is in Vancouver. I know you do because you've watched it for years. Your own team. The hit on Pettersson was taken a little bit too far. It could have been way worse. He could have drove him into the ice. And he probably wouldn't have gotten any more games for doing that. I don't like that your star player's out. But I tell you what, it's part of hockey. Hockey's a physical sport. Vancouver and their fans should be upset that their players lost because of the injury. But death threats and silliness like that is not the way to handle it. That's immature, stupid, and it makes your city look awful, terrible. Should be embarrassed. And I think a lot of your players on your Canucks team are embarrassed and would say the same thing I'm saying. Now, Vancouver is probably my favorite city I've ever visited in Canada. I loved it when I was there. It's beautiful. There's tons of things to do. They're passionate about their hockey. And I can't help but believe this is only a select few of immature, stupid shitheads. Vancouver, I know you have good fans. I think you need to step up and push out this badness. Because hockey, there's no place in hockey for death threats.
Inside Edge Hockey News. Dropping the gloves. And stirring the pot.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Instigator, brought to you by One Timer Hockey. Hockey t-shirts for hockey fans. Check out InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com for all your hockey news. Follow us on all forms of social media. And most importantly, download The Instigator on your favorite podcatcher. We can be found on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeart, YouTube, and Spotify. Thank you for listening. Enjoy this week's hockey action, and always voice your hockey opinions.
Thanks for listening to The Instigator. Check back for future episodes or download the show on your favorite podcatcher. Keep up to date with all the hockey news at Inside Edge Hockey News. And check us out on all forms of social media. Until next rant, take care and enjoy the hockey action.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.